20 on me, case emergency. Ain't no cap in my rap. Real I know it's the truck. More profit mean extra. Emerald white out full of pressure. That cereal milk smoking right. But that Obama rent some special. Kansas City, I'm a chief. Shout out to K5 on new one. Country thuggin', I was hustling. I always had it on me. Booming like OJ the Juice. Till a nigga told on me. From now on, it's relentless. Ain't no love, we ain't friendly. If she want me on him. No the law, she get the business. No the law, still the motto. Empire.
So, hello. Welcome in. This is the Birds of a Feather podcast with your man Q City. Who I got here with me today?
Oh, my fault.
Let's go. So as y'all can see, we're switching it up. Definitely, bringing some fresh blood, new voices into it. Always good to talk to a fellow Falcons fan. So if you've been here for a while, you know me. But I'm gonna take this time, Todd. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, man?
Yeah, I'm Taj. Been a Falcons fan since '98. So
You kind of dating yourself a little bit right there.
Hey, man. been in this a long time, man. Always
So
love to talk sports, but yeah.
In your recent history, what's some of your favorite Falcons teams?
Probably the 2012 team.
Oh, the loss to San Fran in the NFC Championship. That was a good team. That was a good team. And so with that being said, it's safe to assume that you believe that Matt Ryan was a good quarterback for the Falcons.
Yeah. I think Matt Ryan's probably overly hated.
And why do you think that is?
Just because of where we are. Just like Atlanta, most people just don't care for him. They put the Super Bowl losses on him, even though he's one of the quarterbacks that have the most fourth quarter comeback wins. Like, he's up there.
And I've been saying that for years. I honestly believe like there's a racial element to it. I feel like Vic connected more with the city. You know what I'm saying? And so you'll hear people say that Vic was the best quarterback for the Falcons of all time. And I'm a firm believer that Matt Ryan is the best quarterback of all time that we have. That doesn't mean he's the greatest quarterback ever. It means for our franchise, he's the best that we have. Yeah. And like I think that what was it? He's been to 3 NFC Championship games, 1 Super Bowl. I don't see that level of success happening with any other quarterback that we've had in our history. So it's always like refreshing to talk to somebody who's like, yeah, I mean, he has his faults, but you still a good quarterback.
Yeah, easily the best in our history, the most winning. Arguably could be a Hall of Famer, but that's a whole nother conversation.
No, yeah, I feel like hey, we got time. We'll probably get into it. I feel like he's one of those Hall of Very Good type people.
Yeah.
So, speaking of our Falcons, you know what I'm saying, as we're rolling into the season, week 1 starting off on Sunday, versus Carolina. First thing I wanted to kind of just talk about was taking some inventory of what we've done in the off season. You know what I'm saying? So, I know for me, the Hughes signing, the Jesse Bates signing, that was one of those big like heel turn moments for me. They're really addressing the secondary. That one stood out to me. I don't love the money, but I'm okay with them investing on high price free agents on the defensive side of the ball. What kind of stood out to you?
And this is probably one of the not as talked about signings, but I like the Caden Ellis pickup.
Okay. Hit me on that. What you seeing there?
So it kind of came full circle to me when I seen the starters play for the first time in preseason, and he was wearing the green dot. So you bring someone over that knows the defense in and out, who had a pretty good season last year with 7 sacks, despite not starting the whole year. So
Mm-hmm.
you bring him in to a system that he already knows, and he's the play caller, and he's the starter from day one. It just leads me to think that he's going to ascend. Um, because and then the way that Nelson deploys his defenses with a whole lot of crowd in the line, like in simulated pressures, I think that Caden Ellis could be probably one of the surprise stars of the defense this year.
I like the thinking behind it. I'm always a big fan of people bringing in people that already know the defense, and it's interdivisionary, so you're gonna have a spot up on you're gonna have a spot up on the Saints anytime that you play him. I just felt like he's much better. He's much better as an on-ball linebacker, so it made sense re-signing Lorenzo Carter. I just
Mhm.
still feel like we could use an upgrade in the middle of the field in that regard in the second level. Like I don't doubt that he's going to be a day one starter. I don't see anybody who really would push him in that regard, but I definitely think that that's going to be somewhere they're going to be looking to upgrade at the end of next offseason. Just strictly based on age and his production for the last, well, I think he's a 4-year league veteran,
Yeah,
league vet.
this is his fifth year.
Yeah,
Like
it's 50 year league.
I think what their thought is they're bringing him in and then they're pairing him with Troy. And since
Hmm.
they took Troy in the second round, I'm pretty sure they're expecting a pretty nice leap from him in year two.
But see, I'm not gonna lie to you. Troy's best packages last year, granted the defensive coordinator was different, was with his hand in the dirt. He actually was a very good rush linebacker last year.
Uh,
Now, will they keep him there? Probably
no,
not. Probably not. But there were many packages last year where he, especially for a team that struggled getting pressure, he made a difference there.
mm, I felt like his most of his difference is like his. I remember the game where he replaced Michael Walker because Michael Walker often struggled in run fits, and that's where Troy excelled. Now,
Hmm.
in coverage, he was lost a lot,
Yeah.
but I think it's because back to his college background, he's played quarterback, running back, which he was all conference at both. He's still relatively new at linebacker, so his instincts are lacking. He has all the physical talent that you can want in a linebacker. I think he has like probably the fastest 40 in the NFL or amongst like the top three or so.
Yeah, which is
So
why I love to put him in a see ball, get ball position. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Rather than putting him in space or having to, kind of flow with the line to find the ball. Like put him in a position where you take on a stunt at best, but your main goal is to get behind the line and wreak havoc.
no, I think they did that. The Caden Ellis signing screams that because with Caden Ellis calling our plays, Troy doesn't have to think as much. He don't have to worry about where he just has to worry about his assignment instead of worry about
True.
everyone else's assignment. So that allows him to play up to his athleticism.
Now, one
Because
of the one of the more surprising signings for me was Taylor Heineke. I'm not gonna lie to you. I I really don't understand it. I would have thought that they brought in a much more seasoned veteran. Uh, that pickup to me kind of just screams, "Hey, Ritter's got a short leash." What's your take on it?
I don't think so. Like I think it's just one of those things where he's from the area. He has adequate film. Like he's not to sound like them, but he has the stuff that they like. Like the right mental makeup and all that. Like he's a guy that like he when you hear anything from Washington, you don't hear anything negative about him, from the fans to the players.
But you can
And
say the same thing about Ritter. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying? Like everybody talks about how good of a leader he is and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's about tangible things on film, right?
yeah,
his 2-2 starts, his 2-2 record last year. All right, cool. He's a decent developmental prospect. You know what I'm saying? But to go sign a guy who Heineke's what, 27? So
No,
it's not
Heineke's
like,
30.
oh, he is 30. He's a little older.
Yeah, he's 30.
I still feel like they signed him to a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
I feel like anything happens to Ritter, you start to hit a lull halfway through the season. I feel like the chance to get him are going to be a little louder.
That's not the feeling I get. I mean, I like Heineke, but I do think that the coaching staff as well as the front office is in love with Ritter because when they signed Heineke, he pretty much came out in his first interview and said, "Oh, I'm here to be the backup."
Yeah, you say all the right things, but Arthur can't have another 7-9 season.
I mean, he can, but you also got to look at it this way. This is the first year they've actually had to put the pocketbook at their disposal. This is the first year they've actually been able to spend any money because, like, they've been digging themselves out of the mess that Demetrius made with contracts.
Yeah,
because Julio shouldn't have got the other contract because Julio wanted the contract, got the contract, and then axed out.
Yeah, immediately.
And then Dimitrov just kept on pushing Matt Ryan's money back each year, to where it was just like it was like a $40 million. We took a pretty good cap hit. So
yeah, I wanna say it was 42 dead money when he got traded, and but that's why, and that to me is why I seriously thought it was front office malfeasance last year to start Marcus Mariota after the Carolina game, because you're already taking this cap hit this year. There is no push to move forward, and you still have you push forward to try to win a division that the winner was just going to get smacked in the first round anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a push to win the division there. You could have got 6 to 7 games out of Ritter last year.
I mean, you
held on to Mariota.
But I just think it's, with coaches, you have certain check marks, and I guess it probably took Ritter a while to hit those check marks. Because there's different philosophies of quarterbacks. You got some people who believe that they should play immediately and just take their lumps, and there's some people that got to sit back and watch and just come up with their own routine, get everything down pat. It's two sides to the coin of that.
Absolutely. So, I'm definitely a lumps guy.
Yeah, because it's like I can understand why. I see both sides. I understand why people wanted Mariota out of there after the Carolina game, but I also understand why Arthur Smith didn't rush Ritter into it. He wanted him to show him that he was ready. And even though when his first start versus the Saints, it was rough. But
I felt very encouraged at the end of that game because I felt like they still had an opportunity to win that game.
Yeah, but I think that's just due to the coaching staff, because due to the fact last year we had quote unquote the worst roster in football yet. All but like one of our games, but 2 of our games were decided by 1 score or less.
Yeah, I think the Bengals got away from us pretty quick.
The Bengals was the only game that you could deem a blowout, and then we beat San Francisco by 14.
Yeah,
but for the most part, we were in every game down to the last minute, and with the bad roster, that's really all you can ask for. So, with free agency, with the infusion of talent, I really think that you could expect more, and then you bring in people like Jesse Bates, who came from teams that, like Jesse Bates said himself, he's came from the rebuild to success. And he says he feels a similar vibe here. Obviously, some of that's probably just, politics, but you're not going to say, "Oh, I think we suck." But
yeah, and I think you got some. I think you got some core veteran not core, but like good veteran signings like Calais Campbell. Older than dirt, but hey, man can still play.
That signing there spoke to me because him being as old as he is, like, he's obviously looking for a ring, and he came here, so he must see something. Because
I think we were one of the few teams willing to give him Was it 14 mil? Let me look
No,
that up real
no, it was
quick.
7 mil. It was a 1 year, 7 mil.
1 year, 7.
Yeah. But
Guaranteed?
the Jets offered a similar contract, but he chose us.
He's never going to get to play on the Jets.
He would have got to play.
Nah,
You,
he's not getting.
you don't give him a 1 year, $7 million deal if you don't want to play him.
Next to Quinnen?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the thing is, for us,
Yeah,
Calais,
yeah.
he's playing that D end spot. That was the power end. So it's work because like even with the Saints, Calais is playing the Cam Jordan role, the big end, because we're going with heavier fronts because the Saints have typically played with lighter boxes. So in order to play with lighter boxes, you need to have bigger guys up front.
Speaking of the big guys, I do like the fact that we invested money in draft picks in the offensive line.
Yes.
Not sure if I actually like the people that we invested into in the offensive line. I'm not
My
gonna
only
lie.
question is McGarry.
Yeah,
And I love him as a run blocker, but as a pass blocker, he really lacks that consistency that you would really like.
he has been rated one of the worst in pass blocking. Now
Yes.
he was Pro Bowl. You know, he was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
So I
and he was the best run blocker. He was the best run blocker in football. So
yeah. So like I completely understand that mindset and that hey, you got to pay the man. You know, he earned a Pro Bowl. Not he was a legit Pro Bowler, not one of those fugazi ones. You know what I'm saying? And he's been in every game since he got drafted, but his pass blocking has not improved. Jake Matthews is a fossil on the other end, and so I'm really worried about our tackles holding up going into next season.
I'm not worried about Jake. I mean, Jake
has progressively gotten worse every single year as a pass blocker, and he's never been particularly good as a run blocker because he's not as strong.
I mean, yeah, but he's been dependent because like for what you expect for a lineman, like he's about league. I would say he's slightly above league average.
He's like
and
16.
if
Well, what is it? 64 tackles. So you probably put him around 24, 25, somewhere in there.
So I mean, that's what you go ask for because like it's hard to find better than him, but it's very easy to do worse.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's facts. That's facts.
So I think it's one of those things where you take the guy because he's the guy that you could put on an island and you know he could hold his own. Sure,
But
the elite guys
why
may get him.
I was very like happy about the Bergeron pick, right?
Yes.
Because I felt like they're going to use him as a swing tackle.
No, but he's the guard. He's going to be the guard.
I know he's going to be a guard, but he played tackle at Syracuse.
He did. But I think what they're looking at is like we had an opening at guard, and he has the stuff that you would like to make that transition.
Yeah, obviously you got Chris on one side, and we've had a hole at right guard for Lord knows how long. So
yeah,
we've
never had two good guards because I'm a believer of interior then exterior. So if you got a strong interior front of your line, then it kind of makes things better because one of the things that probably people don't know as much about is what O-line play is the communication. If you know the guy next to you is going to do his job, it makes your job easier. Now, the guy that they had before that, they got cut from the team, Mayfield.
Now, Mayfield was what, a third-round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, third-round pick, yes.
Out of Michigan. And he was young when he was drafted, so I get that.
Yeah,
but
21.
My man, he had a rough year last year. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I understand the need for the upgrade. I love the fact that this front office cut quick. So because he was in their first round of draft picks.
Yeah, he was the first year. Then last year he was on injured reserve all year. And then this year they just said, yeah, you're not showing us what we need, so you got to go. But I just don't think he was a fit for what we need our offensive lineman to do. Because, and I'm not going to fault Terry or Arthur for that in the first draft because, like, you coming in.
I think Arthur runs a kind of a complicated scheme when it comes to interior linemen on how they pull, what their stunts are.
Yeah.
and how to really get to their spots. I wouldn't say complicated, but it is like a
I
little
mean,
bit
they
more
say it's one of
tactical.
the more, yeah, because like
Yeah.
people say it's one of the more complex run schemes in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not just student body left, student body right. Like
Yeah,
you might have moments where as a center, you are running away from the play to make the backside block. And that's
yeah,
not something you usually see, but it creates like really, really good running lanes.
because it can create confusion because as a deal, like, well, where is he going?
Yeah.
But
And but what that's gonna do is open up the hole for our draft picks, right? Our
mm,
first round draft pick, Bijan Robinson. What you think about the B man, man?
special, just because it's like up into the draft. I've seen people talking about Bijan during the season. I'm like, we got out here. There's no way we're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, but I said all this before I actually watched him. So we get closer to draft time. I'm looking through all the picks because the guy I wanted the Falcons to take at 8 was Christian Gonzalez or Jalen Carter.
I
Um,
wanted Jalen Carter strictly for the fact that like I'm always down for like a big body in the middle.
mhm.
Um, and Christian Gonzalez, I liked him. I didn't like him at 8.
He was my
So
favorite corner in the draft. I think he has special stuff at corner.
no, I loved him. I didn't love him at 8. Like could have picked him, but like we had to go to. I think he was right around where he needed to be. He got picked what 16,
17 to the
17. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right around the spot. Like we'd have had to trade down to get him.
I think he could have went there. I mean, because a lot of things were unpredictable in that draft.
Yeah, but if you look at the fact that like, so one, I am in just terms of economics of it, picking a running back in the top 10, if you need a running back, picking a running back in the first round, if you need a running back, isn't the worst thing in the world, strictly because, and not to just, use them as like a meat market type situation, but like you've got Bijan at a pretty good, decent number, a number he's happy with. You have him under team control for at minimum 5 years, but up to 7, right?
Yeah,
You're going to get every bit of value out of him before you ever have to come back to the table to renegotiate.
yeah.
Whereas with a corner, even though you may have him at team control for 5 to 7 years, in the same way, that number is significantly higher from the moment that you draft him. And most of them want their want their 5th year option immediately picked up, and they're coming to the table at year 4. Running back, you can kind of play hardball, especially considering you got Algier still on the roster. Their timelines match up pretty perfectly, so you can kind of play with both of them. And then I'm guessing in 2 years, draft another running back in the later rounds as Algier tends to go away. With a top flight corner, you're coming off a pretty big contract after year 4.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I understand it. I
So I like it from a team building perspective.
mean, I wasn't upset with the pick. Um, but from a team building standpoint, it does make sense, especially if Bijan lives up to what you think he can be. Then even in the little glimpse we saw in preseason, he looks like he might be, as Stephen A says, box office.
He seemed hyped, pretty good to get out there. I definitely want to see him uh, in a real game. I
Yeah.
feel like now I will say one of our positions that I was a little upset that we didn't actually address in this draft, especially considering what we're rolling into the season with, is wide receiver. I really wanted a wide receiver on day 3 that I felt like could make a difference, and I really didn't see anybody there when we went to the draft.
So this is my thought on that. Because I don't think that wide receiver is going to be as a pressing need in this offense. I mean, yes, if Drake London gets hurt, then we might be in some trouble.
We're gonna be in some real trouble.
But I do think that I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a resurgent year. I think Jonnu Smith is a very important piece in this offense, and I think that's probably one of the pickups that people tend to forget about. So you have 2 tight ends that are problems for linebackers or safeties to cover. Then you have Drake London, and you have Bijan, who you can move anywhere, and then Cordero, who can play receiver or wherever you need him. It's like I'm not so sure that the wide receiver two is as big as need as I initially thought it was, because I wanted them to take a receiver. I wanted Jonathan Mingo, but the Panthers took
Mhm.
him. But I think that the way, because he's going to deploy this offense, I don't think the number two receiver is going to be as important. But I do think Mac Hollins is going to be better than I think. Hollins kind of gives me some new vibes.
Yeah, but I don't. Whoa, well, no. Body wise, maybe, but there's no way he's as productive. I don't see him catching any more than 45 to 50 balls
I
this year.
mean, but Sanu never really. Sanu was like what, a 600 to 800 yard guy first. I think Hollins can give you that. I mean, he gave that for Vegas. I don't see why he couldn't give that here as a fourth, maybe fifth option.
And that's what it really boils down to, because like you're looking at it, first option is going to be run the ball. Second option is going to be run the ball. This is Cordero's last year, but he's
Yeah.
already got whatever big contract he's going to get. So I wouldn't be surprised if he fell out of the running back rotation and fell more into the receiver role by week 7 or 8 within the season,
Well,
depending on what packages they employ with Bijan and Tyler.
so they released the first depth chart today. Um, and Cordero's listed as something called J, which I'm assuming it means Joker, because he alluded to that in a press conference.
Mm.
So I think they're just gonna just use Cordero wherever they see fit. He's just gonna
Yeah,
be your chess piece guy.
and
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 B,
like when he's a perfect person for flex in fantasy if you wanted to do something like that, but I definitely, in terms of raw numbers that he's going to produce this year, I'm not seeing it.
oh, I have no idea what his numbers are gonna look like, because Bijan's gonna eat up a lot of touches, and because I feel like Bijan and Algier is kind of gonna be reminiscent of when the Saints had Kamara and Mark Ingram.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how I view it. That's exactly how I view it. And with that being the case, Cordero would kind of fall into not Colston. What the hell was his name? I see him right now in my eyes. Regardless, he's gonna fall into not quote unquote a slot receiver type of situation, but anytime he's on the field, he's gonna have a spotlight on him because you're pretty sure he's only on the field to get the ball.
Yeah.
Now,
Also, you mean like a Taysom Hill type of guy?
basically, now I'm not gonna lie to you. Packages that include Tyler Bijan in the backfield with Ritter, with uh with Pitts on the end of the line, Cordero on one side, and London on the other.
It's
I
gonna cause
can't wait
problems.
to see it.
It's gonna
I
cause
can't
problems
wait to see it. Like, I can't wait to see. I know it's gonna be some issues, man.
because how
Like
do you
there's
defend that?
how like you got Cordero's a burner. Drake is a possession guy. Bijan can run routes literally like a wide receiver out of the backfield. Kyle Pitts can threaten every part of the field, but especially on the middle if he's on the end of the line. And then Algier, we can just say fuck all that and we're gonna run it right up the middle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I really look forward to more no huddle, more just like basketball on grass type situation when you have the right personnel out there this season. But Arthur Smith has never really played that way. He's always been very methodical down the field. But I think with different personnel, more athletic personnel, he might be more apt to calling a variety of plays that allow that athleticism to show.
I truly believe that Arthur Smith is one of those coaches that plays to the strength of his team.
Mm-hmm.
Because like even back to last year, he
We
tried
shouldn't
to
have got
get
7 wins. We
yeah,
shouldn't have got seven
he
wins.
shouldn't
Like,
have,
yeah.
but like he tried to give Mariota every chance possible to succeed. And I remember watching the Cleveland Brown game where he ran the ball 14 straight times because Mariota couldn't get it done. Like he's gonna play to the strength of the teams. He's not gonna fool around with it. So I believe because like even going back to Tennessee, the way he ran the offense with Mariota and the way he ran the offense with Tannehill was drastically different. I do believe his
I feel like he came into the season with dreams of running the offense like he did with Tannehill,
yeah
but quickly saw that Mariota could not do it. And I think he sees much more Tannehill and Ritter than he
yes
does with with anyone else.
hmm
But with that being the case, I feel like, especially with this being a make or break season for him, if Ritter does not, I'm not saying he has to come out the gate hot, but if this is a 2-4 start, I would not be surprised if he goes ahead and makes the switch.
I mean yeah, but it would also have to depend on like the why for that though. Like, is it because of the quarterback, or is it because the defense isn't living up to the hype, or is it because injuries? There are a lot of different avenues to get to that result.
Well, I ain't gonna wish death on the team to start out because I'm looking to go 1-0. And
Oh
with
yeah,
that being
definitely.
said, what you thinking about the Carolina game?
Um, I want to see how this defense attacks Bryce. I want to see how this defense gets after Bryce because I feel like people were upset that we didn't do certain things in free agency, but we added a lot of vets on the front line, and I do think that versus a questionable online that this is probably a good chance for to show what our new defensive acquisitions can do. Now
I'm gonna be
they
I'm gonna
they
be honest with you.
uh,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think this is the game where you throw all the stops out. I
oh no
honestly believe that Carolina is not in our class this year, and this should be a game in which you impose and dominate your will offensively far more than you do defensively this year,
that's right.
at least in game one. I feel like your defense should be able to hold Carolina. Like you put Carolina in a 10-0 hole quick, right? Your defense comes out and gets 2 stops. Don't let them build any momentum, and you score twice. And then after that point, you're running the ball. You're trying with your motions. You're bringing drags across the field, and you're really just imposing your will offensively with super long drives. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored no more than 20 points in this game, but the final score was like 20-7.
I'm expecting something along the lines of probably like 27-14.
Mm-hmm.
I just want I want to see how he like I'm because like Arthur Smith is very close to the vest with a lot of things like injury reports, depth charts, anything. He doesn't really give you a whole lot to feed off of. So I'm curious to see how this offense is going to be deployed. Because we haven't seen Cordero all year this year. It's I think his usage is going to be closer to how he was used in 2021 than how he was last year as a primary rusher. I think they're just going to just probably find the mismatch and just have him go attack. So I'm curious to see how he's going to deploy everything. And he's been talking about balance. What does balance look like to him? Like is like what is that gonna look like? Like are we gonna see Ritter get to air it out a little bit? I know he's gonna get the play action game working. Um, how much does
I mean,
Bijan
yeah,
get going?
that's how I view balance. But like when I think of creative offensive minds, which I won't take it away from him. I do think Arthur's a creative offensive mind. Most of them don't view balance as run play to pass play. It's kind of like balance in the sense of I have action at the line and I have action away from the line. So that could be screens, that could be motions, that could be jet sweeps. Those are quote unquote run plays, but it's action at the line
Mm-hmm.
that easy completion type situations, or I have action away from the line, which is like deep shots, piercing throws, which he really excelled on last year. Mariota couldn't hit those throws for a majority of the year, and I will give Ritter props. He hit those throws more often than not. The only thing that killed us was late game execution,
Yeah,
fumbles, turnovers, like that type of situation. But in in terms of attacking the middle of the field, once off the play action or attacking the middle of the field, even off a straight drop, Ritter did do pretty good at that.
That is one of the things that I was encouraged by. Like in the sample size that we got him, even though we did have our mishaps, none of them were anything that he necessarily did.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't remember a late game interception killing.
Yeah, no, he had no interception. His first actual interception was in the preseason game versus the Bengals, and that doesn't even count. So
I distinctly remember one where London caught the ball, had a free reign. I want to say it was the Saints, and just coughed it up.
It was them in Baltimore. He had two of them like that.
Baltimore was the one I'm thinking of, because when they played the Saints, Ritter wasn't the starter.
No, he was the starter the second time, because that was his first game.
The first game was the one that London fumbled, though, right?
No, it was the second one. The first one was the one Mariota fumbled.
There it goes. Yeah, late game fumbles killed us last year.
Yeah, including the Chargers game when we got the ball back and then Taquan Graham just dropped it. Just dropped it.
Allergic to wins. I'm telling you, yo, man, being a Falcons fan is bad for your heart, bro. Like,
it's rough.
Like, it's hard out here for a pimp. But, like, you know, I'm looking forward to week 1. I moved to, I announced in the pod a while ago, I moved to Tennessee, so this is a gambling state. So I will be giving out some props a little later, probably on the socials. But, like, it's good to connect with you, man. Hopefully this is the pod going forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. You want to take us out?
Yeah, I think that'll do it, man. Look forward to being on future pods, making this a regular thing. Hopefully, we could discuss a victory next week. And let's go Falcons.
Let's go Falcons. I'll see y'all Monday.
El Chapo, looking like I hit the lotto. I want a hottie like mulatto. I'm on here and she on Moscato. I'm in them good till tomorrow. I'm a robber for the Neros. Your little laws, I'ma put you on payroll. You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party in here. Papa Corona, she moving the body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what you telling me. Keep a 20 on me, case emergency. I wake up early every morning. Thank the Lord and get the bag. Hustle hard, get the cash. Stack first, then I'm showing my ass. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what you telling me. Keep a 20 on me, case emergency.
My babies, that's who I grind for. That's who I do it for. Like the Navy, that's who I'm toting that iron for. Keep one in the head like a thought, nigga. Yeah, I fuck with Ty, he a boss, nigga. Put on their neck, I exhaust, nigga. Niggas cross me, so I cross, nigga. No stripper was lit last night. 500, what it cost, nigga. Shit was really legit last night. Had them hoes at the house, nigga. Instagram, Snapchat, Triller. What they say about Jay, he a go-getter. Used to have them fat sacks in the grove, nigga. Late nights, early morning, my dough, nigga.
You smell that aroma? Design the air, it's a party in here. Papa Corona, she moving the body, she working them heels. Gotta go get it mentality. Grocery bag full of celery. Only believe half what you telling me. Keep a 20